Thank you. That was great. We love a good myth-busting technique. We're going to move now on to Dr. NinaScott. Dr. NinaScott, actually, we're all here because this was her idea. She sent me an email that really sold that this was a good idea. So thank you, Nina. Nina's also, like Auntie Tai, a public health physician with extensive experience in advancing Māori health. She's involved in several national cancer control initiatives and is the co-chair of Hei Ahuru Mowai, the Māori Cancer Leadership Group. We also used to hang out together on the Māori Health Committee for the HRC. Oops. Sorry, we're just watching. Okay, right. And I think it's a real privilege actually for us. We haven't kind of managed to bring you down before, so it's a real privilege to have you here today. I want to hand the time to you, but I don't want to do that well.
I can do it without slides.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. Okay. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Oh, kia ora te whānau. Ko waia ko te uri o Ngāti Whātua Ngā Puhimi Waikato. And thanks to Hayley for these beautiful slides, which I only just managed to look at just before. So this is the story of Māori advocacy in the faces of a shitload of racism. Carissa's going to find the slides, but so it's a 14-year journey by Hei Ahuru Mowai, the National Māori Cancer Leadership Group, trying to get the National Bowel Screening Program to be at least equity neutral. And this little story illustrates racism at multiple different levels, and it's a story that's kind of, we thought was over, but it's actually kind of got another little twist in the tail. So just to go back to the data, because as Elena says, that's really important. In the 1980s, and I don't know if this was because of really bad data, but our Māori bowel cancer mortality was almost 40% lower than non-Māori. It was thought to be anyway. And then, I don't know, it was probably around 2010, and Sue's probably going to tell me I got this all wrong, but I think it was around then that our mortality was kind of pretty much the same, despite the fact that we had about a 40% lower incidence. And we had much lower survival once we got bowel cancer. But back in 2010, it was noted that our incidence, or our chance of getting bowel cancer, was rapidly increasing, and the non-Māori rates were decreasing. And they thought that at some stage there's going to be a crossover, so non-Māori rates are going to be lower than ours. But they thought that was a long time away. And I think that crossover point's been and gone, even though we haven't quite seen it in the data yet. So, we've got our 8-year life expectancy gap, and this is why bowel screening is important, because it can make an impact. It's that big. It's one of the top 5 causes of avoidable death. I think it's like number 4 after lung, stomach, pancreas, and then colon, and then liver. We have 43 deaths per annum, and we have a 53% 5-year survival. And that's because we're diagnosed late, because we have poor access to colonoscopy. A recent paper showed that we have the rates of colorectal cancer in those under 50 is increasing rapidly for Māori. I think it's over the last decade, it's increased by 36%. And 18% of all cases of colorectal cancer for Māori are those diagnosed under 50, compared to 26% for the total population. But what this slide shows, and this is the slide that I think got the government to promise to reduce the bowel screening age from 60 to 50. This slide shows that over half of Māori who get bowel cancer are actually under the age of 60, and only just over a quarter of New Zealand Europeans. Most New Zealand Europeans are over the age of 60 when they're diagnosed. So that's why the bowel screening program, it's pretty obvious. You can't have an equitable bowel screening program that starts at 60. It's just like, even I'm not very good at numbers and I can figure that out. So, we had a bowel screening pilot that started from age 50. But when it came to rolling it out, the logic was, we can't roll it out from 50 because we don't have the colonoscopy capacity nationally. And there was no discussion on whether, well, there was some discussion, but that was quickly swept under the carpet about whether we should keep it at 50 for Māori and Pacific. That was just not a discussion. It rolled out to, okay, there we go. Whoops, I'm going backwards. That's pretty clever. Goodness me. Okay, totally backwards. Hey, Carice. Oops, no, okay. I got it. There's a little arrow. Okay. No, I found the little arrow. It's good. Like, so what this story is about is our advocacy, and I'm going to try and we're running a little wee bit behind. So what happened over the years is really, really heartwarming. We didn't expect to get so many people supporting us in our call to lower the age. But we weren't surprised at the massive and immediate white backlash. It was rapid and very powerful. So before we got the data which showed that we'd probably had that crossover point and our incidence was now higher than New Zealand Europeans, we decided that we'd better call a meeting of all of these cancer screening and Māori cancer experts to look at the harms. All screening does harm, and that's why we don't have a national prostate cancer screening program, because prostate cancer screening it most certainly does more harm than good the way it's currently done in Aotearoa. So that's another conversation. But anyway, so we thought we'd better call the experts together and just get a consensus on whether we should be pushing to lower the age. And the unanimous consensus was that we should. So we went ahead and we went hard, and we talked to journalists and politicians and wrote papers. We had Rawari Jansen behind us and brainy people like Sue Kringle and leaders, Māori leaders. And then, despite all of this, the ministry said there are going to be no changes in the program until after it's rolled out to all DHBs. There was no rationale. That was just another pure racist excuse. And actually, when we presented, I think that's in the previous slide, when we presented to, see that little letter with that's the old tohu from Heiahu to Morwai. When we presented, I think it was some modelling from Mal McLeod, which showed that the bowel screening program would have double the hauora gain for New Zealand Europeans as for Māori, and that we should be, in fact, reducing the age for Māori and Pacific to age 50. We presented that to the National Bowel Cancer Screening kind of leadership people, and they were just like immediately said, yes, we've got to do this. It's just incredibly logical. And at that same meeting, the white backlash hit. And it was always changed. It was like, we can't do it because we'll get challenged. People will say we're racist against white people. We can't do it because of the incidents, and we're saying we're being unscientific. There was we can't do it because we don't have colonoscopy capacity, which is utter crap because the number of colonoscopies required was really minimal. There were lots of different excuses. And also on that slide is just, oh gosh, I shouldn't be allowed to be in charge of these things. But you can see the amount of press that we got, and we got a whole lot of position statements like Te Ora, the National Māori doctors' organisation. Yeah, there was a whole lot of really positive support, including from unexpected sources like the Midland DHB's chief executives wrote a letter to the Ministry of Health, for example. But yeah, no, we got a big no with, just a whole lot of racism as an excuse. And we've actually, that's one of the things we did. And this is where this presentation comes from. We, when we thought we'd won, and I haven't got to that slide yet, but we thought, we should write this up, so other Indigenous people around the world can see how you kind of fight the system and win. So we got an HRC grant, thank you HRC, and we had to go backwards and figure out what we did, and it took a long time to figure out what we did. Sorry. But this is just an analysis of all the little bits of racism along the way. And then there was the announcement that they were going to drop the age to 50 for Māori and Pacific. And we were so happy because this wasn't just about bowel cancer screening. This was about us winning against racism, and Indigenous voices were being heard, and it was beautiful and happy, and it was fantastic. And so that came with something like $38 million or something like that to the National Screening Unit. And what did they do with that money? They let it sit there. They didn't spend it. They did a couple of pilots. And now we have a new government. And so, just back to not spending the fucking money. I know. I don't care if I lose my job. We talk about racism as being inaction in the face of need, and that's just a blatant example of racism. You've got the money to eliminate the racism in a national cancer screening program, and you do not spend it. I mean, at the time, there were no Māori staff in the National Screening Unit. What does that tell you? Anyway, so here's this money sitting here. We got a new government who is very anti anything Māori specific. What do you think they're going to do with that money? They're going to take it and they're going to put it across the population. So they're going to increase. I mean, this is what my guess is. We'll find out soon, won't we? But, and I have a job working for the government, so I can't say anything about what I think, what I know is happening. But, yeah, that's the big question mark. And that's the minister's decision about what's going to happen with that money. So if you want a free Hei Ahuru Mowai t-shirt, just go to the website, click on the link, and just become a member. Anybody can become a member. I think we've got 100 members. And yeah, we'll keep you updated. We got a presentation at the World Cancer Congress, so we'll be doing this there. So kia ora.
Right. Kia ora. Thank you, Nina.